Do you guys not want to deal with clunky recessed lighting and want smart, ultra slim LED recessed lighting instead? Then this video is for you. What's going on, guys? My name is Chris and I'm reviewing today the Lumary 4-pack 6-inch 13-watt smart recessed slim LED panel lights. These are color changing. They are CIR 80, 110 degree illumination, app controlled, Amazon Alexa controlled, Google Home Assistant controlled, RGB plus tunable white, 27K through 6500K illumination lighting. Group controlled, music sync, timer, app controlled, app dimming, cool or warm, and of course voice controlled like we've already mentioned. So let's show you what you get in the box and show you some tips about how to install them, and we'll go through all the functions. Just like all my videos, guys, in the description box right below the video after the video is done is going to be the link for this exact same product by Lumary. They have a 1-pack, 2-pack, 4-pack, 8-pack, and a 12-pack, so you guys can choose which one you want to get or get them all. It's up to you. That again is in the description box below. All right, each light comes with an LED driver box and connector. It opens up for your wiring there and clamp shut. You have your wire nut caps here, your hinges to hang it on your drywall, and of course your LED light, which is super thin with connector and hinge hooks on either side here. And your whole template for cutting out the proper size. All right, we're jumping forward, but we're gonna go back and we're gonna show you the wiring. Don't worry about that. Now, I do wanna also let you know that my drywall on my ceiling is a 1/2-inch drywall, which is fantastic for the placement of your holes. So I do want to talk to you about the placement of your holes. And so what I actually did is I kind of spit shot it a little bit. You can do it through calculations. I used a tape measure eventually, but I decided that I have a queen size bed and I wanted it to go over the side of the bed and the nightstand, not just over the nightstand, not just over the bed. And I wanted it visually appealing, where it's a nice space over here. I went with 37.5 inches with my particular room over and 29.5 inches from the back wall, each exact one. The lights give you a cutout where you can draw right around that. So pencil the template, but a cheater thing that I did is to know exactly where my center line was. I made a pencil mark, I lined up my pencil mark underneath, made my circle, and cut it out with a drywall knife. The reason I went with a drywall knife, now I'll have all this linked in the description box below, the tools, etc. The reason I went with a drywall knife is it's better than using an oscillating tool like this because sometimes you don't know what's up there. And with the drywall knife, you can kind of carefully cut it, and then all of a sudden if you come to something, you're like, okay, there's something fishy going on there. With an automatic electric tool, you could just blow right through wiring, HVAC systems, ducts, you know, you want to be a little careful. So anyway, what I'm getting to is this is 1/2 inch, and this is perfect for trusses or studs, whatever you want to call it, inside of your ceiling. The wood. The wood trusses is what I'm talking about right here. So let's go ahead and go over to this first one here, which is complete. We're gonna show that to you. We're just skipping forward. We're reversing for thirst. Just a second here. So I actually hit a truss on exactly where I wanted to place this. I do need to clean this up a little bit because the wood truss is right underneath that sheetrock there. But because these are so low profile with 1/2-inch sheetrock, they actually can slip in right below the wooden truss, which is awesome. If this sheetrock were any thinner, I'd probably hit the wooden truss and it would have a small gap. But let me show you this one, super flush, and I'm gonna be mudding that as well. I scraped my popcorn ceiling and that looks fantastic. So literally in the center of that is a wooden truss, but because they're so low profile, that gap right there clears in 1/2 inch. And so the back of that light is literally right on a truss, which is awesome because they're so low profile. All right, what you want to make sure is your breaker is off for the room. We found out that it is this particular one, and you want to double check that and shut that off before you do touch these wires and mess around with these wires. So make sure your power is off. Test it, be safe.
Okay, Chris is getting ready to install 4 of these in his ceiling of this master bedroom, where he's got the blue patch on the ceiling there, there, and there. And so what he's going to do initially is we're going to check and see if we have a hot wire here. The lamp is controlled by a wall switch. We've already taken off the hot switched black one from that. We're going to take the white neutral off and then remove the lamp. And then we're quite sure that this is the hots here, because it's taking a white wire, which would be the loop down to the wall switch, and this is the other switched leg off of that. And as you can see, they're both together coming out of the same cable here. So that pretty well tells me, without testing it, that this is hot, but we're going to check it with our voltage test. So I'm going to take this off and remove the ground for this, and then just this will then be free. Okay, we've removed the wire nuts from what we believe is the hot and the neutral, where I get my voltage tester, and then turn the voltage back on temporarily just to make sure we got voltage all the time between those two.
All right, once again, to test this temporarily, we're gonna flip back on our breaker. We are now hot, and so we're gonna do just a test of our equipment to make sure it is good to go.
So I tested in a known live circuit already, make sure nothing's happened. As you can see, I like the Wiggy, has a little red indicator and it hums. I don't know if you can hear that humming, but it's hums when it's live. So now we're going to go up, check between the suspected hot all the time and the neutral. That's generally how they wired these homes, and it is hot.
That is hot.
And we're going to, let's see, turn the switch off, right?
So now the switch will be off. That was on, now the switch is off.
We'll check it again to make sure, and it is hot all the time. Show it here where you can see it. Okay.
You can see the Wiggy. Okay.
And then we're going to go, this should be off now because it's a switched leg. We're going to go between this and the neutral, and it is off. You want to turn the switch back on. Now it should be hot, and it is. Okay. So now we're going to turn the electricity back off. So now to double confirm that the electricity is off. Nothing here, nothing here rather, and then nothing here. Okay, so we're good now. We can handle it with our bare hand. All right, this is 14 gauge wire, which is what many electricians use when they wire a house, because they wire the lighting circuits on a 15 amp breaker, which is proper for 14 gauge wire. You never want to go 14 gauge wire on a 20 amp circuit breaker, because that's too large capacity for it. Now you'll notice that the insulation on the cable is white on the 14, and if you look at the cable on the floor here, that is 12 gauge wire, which we're going to use.
This is 12 gauge.
Because that just happens to be what we have on hand. That is black, white, and red, so it's good for running other circuit applications, which we might need in this particular thing. Also, just happens to be all I have on hand at the moment. So what we're going to do now is we need to get up in here, and we're going to cut one test hole over here and see if we can fish over to it. But we need to remove this box. If you listen, that sounds solid, but if you go on the other side, it's not so much, or here, or here. So it tells me that the truss in the ceiling is over here on this side, and the box is fastened to it. So we're going to have to cut a large enough opening around this box and try to preserve the sheetrock so he could put it back. He's going to scrape this coating and put a skim coat on, and then it'll look nice, so it'll all be covered when he finishes.
I'm going to film a quick segment. Still a little dusty in here, so I want to put my mask back on. But after we popped open the hole, unfortunately there is spray, which is good for insulation, but it's going to be harder to work with, meaning running our wire. We're going to try to preserve as much as we can, but we're going to have to pull some of that down. We do have some other insulation that's easier to work with that we will be shoving in a majority of these areas.
Okay, as you can see, we've got the sheetrock pulled back so we can see what's going on. Excuse me.
Wear your masks, folks.
That's right. Now this box was held in by these clips, kind of funky, but they would go on either side of the box like that and hold it in place. But we're not going to reuse this box just because it's kind of chintzy. We're going to put in this one, a solid metal one, but it's not going to fit in between here. So we're going to take down this one on this side because it's broken already. It just goes from here to here, and the intention was to support this box. So we will take this guy out. Now, as you can see, the trusses are kind of chintzy, at least in this one, but that's okay. It's good enough to support our box, which we're going to put up here with screws. And it'll fit right here, about centered where the other one was, because it's centered in the middle of the room. We'll pull all these cables back out of this box, put it into this one, get it ready to run cabling over to the new fixtures.
Alrighty, our box is in nice and solid. All right, bring in your cable and do about 1/4 inch or so. We went a little bit longer than that on that one, but what you want is you want the insulation of the cable wiring past your point here, so no bare wires are sticking out. Tighten that down nice and firm. You don't have to overdo it, but nice and firm here so those cables aren't going anywhere. All right, guys, so we used a fish tape for going down over here, going up this light, because we're gonna start with this light right here first. What's nice about putting a big access hole here is I can step on my ladder, and even though there's it's somewhat of a crawl space, but I wouldn't even call it a crawl space. I was able to get on my ladder, come up here, see the fish tape, and be able to pull it through. And what's nice is, because there's some access, I'll be able to see for the next hole and guide it over that way, which will be a lot harder without a helper and without a little bit of a pitched roof access here. So we got the fish tape, sorry, my mask, we have the fish tape coming down, and our connector is right here. And there we go over there on that side. Now, something to note is our trusses right here, we fished it over the top. You don't want to go through the insulation here, especially if you have spraying, because you're just going to be a mess. It's going to go everywhere. So we went up above the top of these trusses here. And now we pull through.
We're going to feed it in to the box through the same cable squeeze connector. Okay, this will show you the connections before I put it back in. Remember, this white wire is a switched, a hot coming from the wall switch. It will control the other 4 lights. So that's the black wire going from our yellow cable that we just pulled in. And then the neutrals, there's a neutral from the power source, and then another neutral or 2 other neutrals, and they're all tied together. And then the 3 hot wires, including the one going down to the switch loop, are all tied together. And then since we used a cable that I had on hand that had red wire in it, we're just going to put a single wire nut on there just to keep it out of trouble. I'm going to push all those back into the box, and I will show it to you after I've done that. You can see I've wrapped tape around the wire nuts. That's to keep these wires from pulling out, because it is a lot of pressure as I push these wires in here, and I don't want them to come loose. So as you can see, it kind of puts some pressure on these wires. So if you do the tape, you don't have trouble with it. But I've come in behind a number of electricians and homeowners who haven't done that step, and anyway, to fix their problem. We'll put a round mud ring on here, and then we're good to go, at the least with this box.
All right, now we are testing the wires, and so we hit the breaker box outside the door back on, and our switch is off right now.
No electricity. Okay, turn it on.
And now we're gonna hit the switch here.
And we got it. Okay, off.
And off.
All right, so now we'll go ahead and cut the other holes, fish the wires through.
Okay, so we're gonna turn the breaker back off after testing. All right, we've fished our wires here through the appropriate holes, as we can see there. Now we are wiring the first box of the recessed LED lights. So here is our box right here. We have 2 cables running into the hole here, and do it on the flat side, so they're just stacked on top of each other, sliding through. We have our 1/4 inch hanging out this side here for insulation purposes, and we have our wires of our box here and here with all of our other wires here, and our connector here we're going to get to in just a second. So let's wire this up, and then we'll show you how we wired it. All right, here we go. Here is what the box looks like. This is, again, the double cable. It's going to get a little different when we just have the single. Then we won't have, obviously, 2 blacks with the box black, etc. But let's go ahead and take a look at this here. So all our 3 whites are in a yellow nut cap with electrical tape around there. We have 2 grounds going in with our box ground going into this one here. And then, of course, 2 blacks, and then the box black over here going into one. And then again, because it's the only cable we had, we have an extra red. We've cut it down to size, cap that as well. You guys probably won't have that, so kind of ignore that. Now the box is a little small, so we're gonna see how we can get these in here. Okay, a little tight, but it wasn't as hard as I initially thought, but definitely cut the wires down to size so that it's not too long. And that's why you definitely need to use electrical tape, because that pressure of you bending them, you don't want those coming out. Now what you want to do is you want to make sure that flap shut and stays shut, which it does. I like what I'm seeing. Now for a little added security, we're gonna go ahead and do an electrical line tape around the box so the box doesn't flap open in there for some oddball reason. All right, let's go ahead and test that one light. We're gonna go ahead and kick back on our house breaker. There we go, we are now hot. And so, obviously we do need to pair them with the app and Wi-Fi, so when I do hit the on button, they will probably blink, or maybe not come on and blink in about 5 seconds or so, because they are Wi-Fi smart ones. So here we go, we're now hot. I like what I'm seeing. So they probably will start blinking a little bit to be able to pair. There you go. And so we know that we connected those the way they should. And I'll show you the locking mechanism where the wires adapt to the box there. They have a nice little safety twisting feature to them. So again, just to make it clear, on each box, you're gonna knock out that little circle right there. I just use the back of my lineman's pliers. And then you're gonna have to insert something like this. It doesn't have to be exactly like this. It just needs to hold down your wires. And then we have our little screw for the other side here, the threaded, just like this here. So the connectors have a locking tab where you insert it and then you twist it, and that locks it into place, which allows you to not have to worry about it coming disconnected. And the box, if you do have a joist and you do want to screw it into, the box does have one hole here and one hole down here where you could lift that in and screw it into a joist. It's so lightweight. I'm just gonna slip it in on top of the drywall, and I'm definitely not concerned about the weight up there at all. All right, guys, I wanna show you a little tip of the trick. This is why kids read your directions. So I installed the springs wrong. That's why it's a little bit loose right here. I was like, what in the world is going on? So let me carefully take this down with 2 hands, and I'll show you what I did wrong with the spring hinges that click on top of your drywall. All right, they need to go on like this. The little loop goes on the left-hand side, the spring goes on that side, you squeeze in, and the other spring goes on this side right here. This is what the outside looks like right here, with it curved just a little bit like that. Now what happens is, I'm gonna have to do this with 2 hands, but you spring these back, both of them, as you insert it up, and then the springs will go whop after you have put it in gear. I'll try not to block the shot here. Again, fold both of them up. Get your wire out of the way. Place it on the edges of the drywall just like this. And you heard that one clamp, and the other one's not going anywhere. Nice and flush. You're gonna hear a click. That's the way it's supposed to be. All right, we are in the app now, and you can rename them anything you want. And so how to figure out which one's which? Well, just go ahead and use the remote control right here on the app and turn that off as that turned off right there. Number one, first and foremost, these things are sick. I really like them. Now, by default, once they are all powered on, they come in a more, if the camera's picking that up, more of a cool blue light, which isn't bad. If you're working, it's an absolute stunning look to it. As you can see there, I mean, this room looks like $1 million. Obviously, the construction is just way crazy, but these lights are really cool. So I changed this one to more of a warmer one, which let me see if I can get over here on this side of the room. There, we can see the warmer color now. I've named that one Bedroom Light 1. This one will be 2, the one above me 3, and that one 4. So there you can see the difference from default to, I have this one under the category of read. The app has so many different features. I'll let you explore that yourself, but right here we see color temperature, brightness. Let's go ahead and hit brightness. We have 100%. Let's go ahead and scroll that down. And it just takes a second there because obviously it's going off of Wi-Fi. Now we're at 18%. So guys, each individual light, there we go. That was actually really quick. Depends on your internet. And each individual light has a different function. So again, I'm gonna have my bed, my headboard right over here. and I wanted the light shining down on my bed / nightstand. I only have a queen bed. That's why I spaced them like that. So I can have just that one on, just that one on. I can have all of them on. I can have just those two on. I can have just these two on. And what's really cool about these smart lights is you don't have to have all this nonsense like 7 different switches for, okay, I want that one on, I don't want that one on, etc. I have one switch to control all of them at the same exact time. Flip it off, flip it on. We're gonna set it up in Alexa. That's what I have, but they are compatible with Google Assistant or Amazon Alexa. Obviously changing colors. Just wanted to get you a night shot here. Look how it's lighting up that corner. I'm definitely more impressed with these lights than I initially thought for sure. All right, so let's look at bedroom light 4 that I have right here. And we're gonna go ahead and click on it here. And as we can see, bedroom light 4 are different color palettes here. So I can go ahead and tap that. Instantly turns that color there, go in the more in the middle, right there. Super 93% right there. But what I actually like a little bit better, and then obviously you have your color palette wheel right here. So if you slide from left to right that way, then we have our reds there. We have our yellow there. We have our blue, green, all sorts of different colors. That's more of like an aqua, if we can see that there. We have our music setting. So let's go ahead and tap that. And this would work just like music, but let's go ahead and watch this here. So the phone picks it up. So let's go bum, 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 bum. Yeah, 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 yeah. Color changing lights, color changing lights. Whoa, whoa, whoa. And then as we stop talking, well, I'm talking again, so hold on one second. Let me cancel that. And then as you stop talking, the light goes back to the color that you have chosen. So cool. Have yourself a nice little dance party. All right, so now let's go to scene. This is what I actually like a lot better. So you have all your different scenes right here. We won't, of course, get into all of them, but I like read. So read again is a little bit more of a warmer color there. And that's what I have bedroom light number 1 on. So it's super warm. Kind of hard for the camera to pick that up. All right, so I have them all on read now. And again, it's just slightly warmer, but I do like that than the defaults. I might even try a little bit more warmer than that, but I think that looks absolutely stunning. Sure, 4 lights in a master bedroom might be a little overkill for some. Maybe you guys would get away with 2 lights, but I like 4 lights myself, and I'm going to be doing this same thing with these lights all throughout the house. Maybe the smaller rooms, I'll only do 2 lights, but look at every corner just being lit up there. No dark shadows casting. Now let me tell you guys something. One of my first couple places didn't have any recessed lighting, and you actually had to have bedroom lamps was your only light. And once you go recessed, which was my 2 previous places had recessed lighting. Once you go recessed, you never go back, to be honest with you. The reason why is because you no longer are living in the dark anymore with like fumbling for like one little lamp over there or one little light right on top right here, which a lot of people are so used to, but treat yourself. All right, this is where it gets juicy. I'm gonna use the Amazon trigger word, so you might wanna lower your speakers if you have a device in your home. So I have linked it and it's initiated. It's all in the directions. So let's go ahead, since we're facing this way, and you can put them in groups just like you can all of your other smart devices. So you, if you're reading in bed, tell these 2 to turn off, etc. But let me go ahead and show you for simplicity's sake. Alexa, turn off bedroom light number 3. Nice. Very little amount of lag time. Alexa, turn off bedroom light number 4. Wow. I'm very impressed. And I am out in the sticks, the country. Our internet is not that good, and it's working fantastically. Not to mention, my mesh system is all the way behind me, and the boxes are through drywall. I like what I'm seeing, folks. I like what I'm seeing. Again, put them in groups. Alexa, turn on bedroom light number 3 and 4. Let's see if it's smart enough to do that. Yes. Okay, it looks like she was a little confused when I said and 4. Alexa, turn on bedroom light number 4. Sweet. All right, I put them all under the group bedroom, so let's see if she understands this. Alexa, turn off bedroom. Ah, okay, got it. So if you use lights afterwards, she's a little confused unless you label them in the group lights. Alexa, turn on bedroom. Because I have them all on bedroom. Group name, that's pretty cool. I like groups. That works great. Well, I personally really like these lights, and I'm looking forward to exploring more features with them. Again, in the description box right below the video is going to be the link for this exact same slim LED lights by the company Lumary. Again, I got the 4-pack. They do sell a single. They sell a 2-pack. They sell an 8-pack, a 12-pack. Pick yourself up some lights. Easy to connect, obviously a little bit of electrical work, but overall a thumbs up in my book. Hit that thumbs up button if you wouldn't mind on your way out. It helps with the YouTube algorithm and helps the channel. Stay tuned for the full remodel of this 10-acre farmhouse. We got master bath, bedroom, trimming, deck work, frisbee disc golf course, a gym shop. It's nutso, so make sure you're subscribed to that, and your links are again below, as with tools I use for this video. Thank you guys. Have a great day. Don't let the party stop, guys. Hit one of these videos, continue to watch, and we'll see you soon.